I'd rather see you burn. Babe, I'd rather see you sleeping in the ground.
They don't call it the Music City for nothing.
Watching your smile light up the sky like a fireworks show on the 4th of July.
From your arrival at the airport to the clubs lining Lower Broadway's Honky Tonk Row. Love awake. From the street corners to the balconies of the Grand Ole Opry. The story of Nashville is the story of music.
Baby, this town built you and me.
Nashville's pretty much the hottest music scene in the world right now. I mean, if you look at all the, people think of it as a country music capital, but it's much, much more than that. If you look at the rock side of things that are here, the gospel side of things that are here, the Christian side of things that are here, and also the country side and the burgeoning urban side, it's all here right now.
Nashville came to be called the Music City because of the Fisk Jubilee Singers.
Probably the earliest influence on music was African American, with the Fisk Jubilee Singers touring the States and then touring Europe. And the Queen of England, Queen Victoria, heard them playing and was so taken with them that she said, y'all must truly come from the Music City of America. And that was when we got our first nod as Music City.
The group formed in 1871 at historically African American Fisk University. Still in existence today, the singers made their mark touring the country and the world, performing to raise money for the university. Nashville is also home to Meharry Medical College, one of the country's oldest and largest historically African American medical schools, founded after the Civil War to train black physicians. Today's Nashville is a modern city, but it hasn't forgotten its roots. From the historic Ryman Auditorium, former home of the Grand Ole Opry, to the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, music is still Nashville's heart and soul. While there's lots more to Nashville than country music, there's no doubt that country is king here.
I mean, we have a great foundation of country music, and that's really what got Nashville started, got us on the map. And we still have great country music, but it's grown into so many other genres.
A visit to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum is a real chart topper. You'll find gobs of guitars, mountains of music memorabilia, and a couple of over-the-top cars of the stars. While you're there, you can also take a look at the headquarters of Hatch Showprint, one of the oldest letterpress print shops in the country, where they still print concert posters the old school way.
We're perpetually retro, as I like to think. You know, we're carrying on a craft and a tradition that has been eclipsed by time, but is recognized by many as something that they miss. That tactile feel of the ink on the paper and the slight wear of wood type or metal type versus the super flat world that we live in of digital print or offset print.
And it's all done under the watchful eye of a shop cat and expert mouser named Mao. Nearby, you'll find the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum, which showcases everything from country to R&B.
And the music that evolved from the 50s into the 60s and 70s and 80s and so forth, it was special. And the way that they recorded it was special because it was all breaking new ground.
On Nashville's Music Row, you can visit RCA Studio B, the city's oldest surviving recording studio.
But by far the grand lady here is this 1942 Steinway piano. It came to Studio B in 1957 when they built the building, and it's never left. It's been in this room all these years. This was Elvis's favorite piano. This was a piano Elvis would play during his jam sessions.
I'm a rambler, showboat gambler.
If you didn't know any better, you might think Nashville was a city full of cowboys, judging by the number of boot shops here.
It's the way to go. If you're in Nashville, you gotta have boots.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Tucked in amongst all those boot shops, you'll find the Johnny Cash Museum in the heart of the city's honky-tonk district, and it's well worth a visit. A tribute to the legendary Man in Black, with music and memorabilia from his lengthy career.
Let's just make it love
take each other's hands.
The nighttime neon is pretty impressive along Honky Tonk Row, but to really experience Nashville's vibrant singer-songwriter culture, you've got to check out the Bluebird Cafe, an unassuming club in a nondescript strip mall on the outskirts of town. It's an intimate spot where you'll hear singers performing the songs as they've written them.
Let's just make it love. Make it love.
The Bluebird Cafe is a one-of-a-kind place. I've never experienced anything like it anywhere else. It's really like going into somebody's living room and just being able to be a fly on the wall while 3 or 4 songwriters sit in the middle of the room and just play the songs as they wrote them. And you hear, for better or worse, because most of the songwriters are not necessarily the caliber of artists who ultimately will record those songs, but you get to hear the authentic and real performance from the author, and so mistakes and all.
There's a lot more to Nashville than music, of course. The city's Centennial Park contains the world's only full-size replica of the Parthenon, built for Tennessee's 1897 Centennial Exhibition. There's also a vibrant food truck scene here, and these guys were among the pioneers.
So one of the great things about it is that when we started, we couldn't define what we would be in terms of the types of food. You know, there's always a burger truck or there's a mac and cheese truck, but we did everything. We looked at it from the point of view that we wanted to do food that was good. It didn't matter where it was from or how it was made.
Nashville is full of creative people, and I mean, when you have Music City means creative, and it means that there's a community of artists and artisans. So food, music, all of these things, when people decide to be creative, Nashville is a wonderful place for that, and that's where we found our home in that sense, to take creativity and make music with our food.
I see faces in the crowd. I think they're laughing out loud.
And where there's music, there's got to be moonshine.
At Short Mountain Distillery, an hour southeast of Nashville, you can get a taste of some old-fashioned moonshine.
This here is the Cooper Cave Spring. We use this cave spring to get the water for our moonshine. And the man who owned this farm before us over 100 years ago was a moonshiner named Cooper Melton. And he used to sell to Al Capone. So the water that we use to make our moonshine used to supply all the speakeasies in Chicago during Prohibition, all their alcohol.
And it's good stuff. Take it from me and from someone else who should know.
Back when I was a kid, I used to watch a scale for a man, but it's made a lot different today than it was then. But still, it was good moonshine, you know, regardless. It was made good and quite a bit stronger.
Near Murfreesboro is the site of Stones River National Battlefield, one of the Civil War's bloodiest conflicts.
Stones River National Battlefield here commemorates the battle that took place here in Murfreesboro during the holiday season, December 31st through January 2nd. It really was one of the turning points of the war itself, as each one of the sides is trying to take control of both the railways and the waterways, the rivers. And so here in Murfreesboro, the Union armies were able to get control of both the railroad and the waterway.
And African American troops played a major role in the conflict.
Here in Murfreesboro, African Americans were significant in the establishment and building of the National Cemetery, Fortress Rosecrans, which became the supply depot after the battle here in Murfreesboro, served as the supply depot then for troops as they moved on to Chickamauga and Chattanooga.
Moving right along, at open mic night at Puckett's Grocery, a place you can buy Cheetos and toilet paper along with burgers and barbecue, you never know what you're gonna find. It's the kind of place where the guy who serves up your food also delivers some killer blues.
Yes, I'll give you all my money, baby.
Or you may find a couple of crazy white guys beatboxing to Baby Got Back.
You can do side bends all sit-ups, but please don't lose that butt. Some suckers wanna play that hard role and tell you that the butt ain't gold. They
Or it just may be the keyboards player for the Judds having a little fun.
I'm excited, man, because I feel like it's a part of the process. Country music it's progressing. It's progressing, yet being involved in the Judd world, you recognize where it starts from first. Man, I feel so stinking honored.
Whatever your musical taste, there's something for everyone in Nashville. Y'all come back now, you hear? For the Village Celebration, I'm Glen Abbott.